Why is innovation is important for companies in general, and you might ask why it's important for Natura as well?
So what we find about innovation is companies which actually focus on innovation are more nimble, more agile to be able to be responsive to changing conditions, and therefore they have a longer future, more sustainable future, and it allows them to be much more competitive in general. But it's the agility and the flexibility companies have to respond to changing conditions, and this is fundamentally the reason why innovation is important.
And you know, on top of that, it's important for the companies because it's important for their customers, for their partners, for their employees. And if you're really a leader in innovation, you're able to attract and keep the best customers, the best employees, the best partners, and grow at the best rate.
Tyler, would you like to add?
No, I would. I think I would simplify it, and I would say if you don't innovate, you will die. Companies that are not able to innovate, that are comfortable with the status quo, new companies are going to come. They'll do things differently, and they're going to find traditional business models don't work anymore. So innovation is key to survival.
HP, why is innovation is difficult or so difficult?
Yeah, now this is the thing people are looking for the most. Innovation is, everybody understands it's important. Everybody understands that without it you will die. So innovate or die. But the challenge to make it happen is it requires a whole system of things to work together. And the way we look at innovation is, first you need to know where you want to innovate. If you're not clear about where to innovate, then you'll probably have challenges in terms of the idea and creativity. It'll be just anywhere and everywhere. So you need to know where to innovate. And if you do know where to innovate, then you also have to pay attention to the fact that you have to know how to innovate. And this is basically the capacity. Do you know how to generate insights from intelligence? Do you know how to take those insights into ideas, into projects? Do you know how to take those projects and commercialize them? So that's the how to innovate. So even if you know where to innovate and you do know how to innovate, then that's the third part of this thing, of the system, is people have difficulty being disciplined about innovation. It's so easy to start innovation projects and ideas and excitement, but it really is difficult. It requires hard discipline to move into the future about something which is uncertain, ambiguous, and get excitement from other people to keep on going forward because you're not sure how to get to that destination. So the discipline is very difficult. And so our philosophy is you need to know where to innovate, and in there, of course, there's a precision of when to innovate. You need to know about how to innovate, and you've got to think about how, because you also have to think of your partners. You will more than likely not know how to innovate, because if it's new to your company, you'll probably not have the competencies in your company to do that. And the last one is, of course, the discipline to innovate, and how do you make sure people will finish what they start. So,
I think the other reason, it is difficult, and that's why it provides such huge competitive advantage to companies like Natura who are able to do it well. Because if you do it well, it is difficult to copy, because you have to do it across functions, you have to do it kind of beyond your comfort zone into what's next and what if. It's not something that one person can do, it's not something that one department does, it has to be something that the whole company does. And not only the whole company, but its partners up and down the value chain. So that's what makes it difficult. It's not command control, it's working across lots of different parties, but those who learn how to do it well win big time.
Tyler, would you like to add?
You know, the last thing I'd say is many companies are very good at focusing on the core. They're very good at what they do, and they've become very successful. And in that success, sometimes they get narrow-minded and say, look, I need to do the day job and keep doing what it is I do so well. And innovation is difficult because it requires you to say, what I'm doing today may not be what I'll be doing tomorrow, or may not be good enough for what I'll be doing tomorrow. So it involves, doing what you're doing today and looking into the future. And so having that ability to do both.
Would you like to just to wrap up, or have to...
Yeah, with innovation, it's one of the most difficult things in the world. And with what Tyler was mentioning, you have to wear two hats simultaneously. And you've got to manage the day-to-day, and you've got to manage what's in the future. You need to be curious, you need to be interested about what's going to happen around the corner. And it's much more easier to come back to what you know well, and you do well. And so there's also a risk profile in organizations which don't want to try and venture too far from what they already know. So it's difficult, but you figure it out, you will have a competitive advantage.
And the other question, Tyler, is what is an innovation breakthrough?
So this came about because we found that companies, many companies are very good at incremental innovations. They're good at improving slowly over time, but there are many innovations which are breakthrough. And we found, the Apple iPod, for example. Everybody says, wow, how'd they do that? And what we wanted to understand is, what are the common characteristics for innovation breakthroughs? And so we studied both the companies we've been working with and companies that people said, wow, they're really innovative. What is it that they're doing? And we found 4 parts. We found that there's a trend component, there's a human needs component, there's a business model component, and there's choices along the value chain. And that's the 4th component. And so if we look at that, the first one is trends. And there's emerging and converging trends. And the idea there is that there are mega trends going on in the world, whether it's connectivity or the rise of countries like China and Brazil. And you can't fight those trends. You have to build on them. And in fact, you have to take different trends that are happening and combine them together. And the companies that are most successful are able to combine trends and say, how do we tap into the intersection of those trends? So that was number 1, that was trends. The second is human needs. And what we find is that over thousands of years, human needs really haven't changed. They're basic human needs. They're at the most basic level, it's food, clothing, and shelter. But as you rise, there are other human needs. For example, the need to feel accepted in your community, the need to feel like you're doing something for your community. And so, there's 10 to 15 human needs, and the most successful breakthrough innovations tap into those. They serve those human needs. So that was number 2. Number 3 is the business model. And again, when we looked at the most successful innovations, we found they had simple business models. Simple but proven business models. So if you look at a company like Procter & Gamble, blades and razors, pricey refillables, they use the same business model or variations on that business model across a number of their billion-dollar products. So they know something that works and they continue to use it. And then finally, the 4th aspect is the combination across the value chain. And what this is about is saying, who are my partners? What is it that I do? What is it that they do? And how can we work together to create barriers to entry for everyone else? So if you think about it, the first 3, the trends, the human needs, and the business models, those are common. Everybody knows those. Everybody can do those. What's different is doing the combination, that 4th key part of an innovation breakthrough. And that says I will work both inside my company and with partners to do things differently and build barriers to entry. And we find the companies that do all 4 of those are the companies that create innovation breakthroughs and the companies that reap the most rewards from those innovation breakthroughs.